Do you believe in reincarnation? Or do you believe there's no such thing as past lives? Millions of people around the world believe that reincarnation is real. I'm going to show you 8 signs that could mean that you indeed had a past life. I'm Stallion Edgar, and this is Fear the Weird. Do you believe there's more to life than what we're told? Do you have burning questions about hidden and controversial topics? Subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification to unravel the mysteries of life and the universe. For you to have a past life, there must be a reincarnation. Some religions and cultures preach that reincarnation is common and part of the life cycle. The aim of this video is not to discuss religion, but rather the possible signs that can be evidence of reincarnation. Often we find ourselves willing to give anything for one more meeting with a dear departed one. We long to hug our late parents again, or the partner who left our side too soon. Some people believe that energy never dies, and it is transferred back and forth endlessly, taking many shapes and occupying different dwellings. Once energy escapes an expired body, it is only a matter of time until it re-enters a new body. The soul cannot wait to come back into your life many times with a similar purpose. He or she might look different, but the same unmistakable spirit will radiate forth. In theory, if your loved one died suddenly or tragically, if they left unfinished business, or if you believe they passed before their proper time, their spirits will reincarnate as soon as possible. They will be reborn into the circle where they felt most loved, but also into situations that allowed them to resolve what was left open. There are many cases in which parents are astonished when their child suddenly says words or sings in a foreign language without any indication of where the child might have learned such a skill. The reincarnated soul may have the same way of speaking, vocabulary, or figures of speech as the person who's passed on. Here are the signs that could mean you had a past life. Do you have any birthmarks? The first and perhaps the most common sign. There are people who claim that a birthmark is related to a past life. For many who believe in this theory, the mark would be in the same place where your death occurred previously. If you had your neck cut, you would be born with a mark on it. If you were stabbed in the back, you would have a mark where the object would have pierced you. A birthmark case became well known in the 1960s. An Indian boy claimed to remember the life of a man named Maharam. This man was said to have been shot in the chest with a shotgun. Later, researcher Ian Stevenson learned about the story and became interested in it. He began to search the records and found that a man named Maharam actually existed and was killed in the way the boy had claimed. The location of the shot is the same as the birthmark. For those who believe in reincarnation, this would be an alarming indication. Could this be true or just an incredible coincidence? If you are a hypochondriac, this case is not for you. Hypochondria is a condition in which a person firmly believes that he has a disease that can be deadly. The hypochondriac sees signs that do not exist and usually ignores medical opinions. This psychic state is associated with anxiety and an intense fear of dying. If you feel unexplainable pain in which neither medical examinations nor specialists can detect the reason, this can be a sign of a past life. These pains can be manifestations of what you went through before you were given a new chance to live. Have you ever thought that your pains may not be a problem linked to a physical part of your body? Do you have any fear or phobia? What scares you the most? Spiders? Heights? Water? Fear is common and has been present since the beginning of humanity to protect us from the dangers that surround us. For years, our ancestors suffered to adapt to the world, so some of their fears were passed on to us as a form of instinct. However, some phobias are totally irrational, and no matter how much you try to explain or go to a psychologist, you will not discover the reasons. Strange as it may seem, there are people who have fears of certain numbers, birds, certain colors, objects, plants, and specific situations. For those who believe in reincarnation, if you don't have a real reason to be afraid of something like a traumatic experience or some story you've heard, the fear you feel may be related to your past life. If you have never drowned or had a water-related traumatic experience and are still very afraid to jump in the pool, perhaps you may have drowned in your past life. Fear would be passed between lives. Do you have a particular taste totally different from other people? Do you have a hobby totally different from your lifestyle but you are still very fascinated by it? Have you ever fallen in love with a totally unknown person? Just as fears would be passed on, passions could also be expressed in another lifetime. It may be that in your past life you were a Spanish artist and that's why you like Spanish films. Maybe you were an architect and you are very interested in models in your current incarnation. An unknown person may be the reincarnation of someone you had a relationship with in the past. This may explain why you're so attracted to that person and cannot get them out of your head. If you have a passion for a culture that has no association to anything that has happened in your life, it can be an influence from a past life. This may be your soul wanting to return to the state which it feels comfortable. It may also be that you have a great interest in a past moment in history like the Enlightenment or the American Revolution. You may have lived in those times. In revisiting history, you would be returning to your life in a sense, your customs, and the world to which you were a part of and which you somehow miss. Who has never had the feeling that they witnessed a moment that had never happened before but feels very familiar to them? Maybe you entered a place for the first time that feels strangely familiar. This sensation is known as Deja Vu. The phrase Deja Vu is of French origin and it means something like I already saw it, and it represents the feeling of reliving a certain situation at this very moment. While doctors and psychiatrists say this is just a minor misunderstanding that happens in our brain from time to time, anyone who believes in reincarnation thinks that this may be a sign. Do you have any strange memories that do not seem to relate to your life? Some say that in reality you may be remembering a dream or something that you suppressed in your memory due to a psychological trauma. However, there are people who believe that these memories have a connection with a past life and that when you're reincarnated, the memory remains in your consciousness. Dreams and nightmares can in a way be a manifestation of memories from a past life. They can be recreations of times you lived or suffered before that life. Even nightmares that you die can be memories of how you died in a previous life. Here are coincidences that may scare even those who do not believe in reincarnation. The founder of Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari, died on August 14, 1988. 2 months and 1 day later, on October 15th, German soccer player Mesut Ozil was born. See the pictures. Was this a coincidence? Another curious case was that of Galileo Galilei, a physicist, mathematician, astronomer, philosopher, and scientist whose contribution was fundamental in scientific revolution. Galileo founded groundbreaking ideas to Newtonian mechanics. He defended the thesis that the Earth revolved around the Sun and not the other way around as it was believed until then. For this reason, he was forced by the Catholic Church to deny his beliefs at the risk of being condemned by burning at the stake for heresy. He spent the end of his life under house arrest. He died of fever due to acute kidney pain on January 8, 1642. On January 4th of the following year, Isaac Newton, an English physicist, mathematician, astronomer, philosopher, scientist, alchemist, and one of the greatest geniuses in human history was born. Being a radical Puritan, Newton had the Catholic Church as everything he hated most. He called it Antichrist and the harlots of Babylon. Isaac Newton died of complications related to kidney problems. Newton would be the reincarnation of Galileo who returned to continue his unfinished work. Do you believe any of these signs to be true? Leave your comments below and subscribe for future videos.